Glory to Jesus Christ. Welcome back to another episode of City to Desert. And once again, we are picking up with our reading from the first volume of the Philokalia and the writings and the sayings of the great Evagrius of Pontus. And we are reading currently his writings on prayer. And if you're following along, we are on page 58 and considering saying number 14 towards the bottom of the page. Evagrius writes, prayer is the flower of gentleness and of freedom from anger. A brief saying, as always, and yet it speaks volumes to us about the nature of our prayer. Prayer is the flower of gentleness and of freedom from anger. And so it emerges, true prayer emerges from growth within the heart in virtue and meekness and freedom from anger and struggling with the passion of anger and to overcome it. And so for true prayer to emerge, we have to be exercising ourselves in the practice of the virtues. And so whenever we are confronted with insult or mockery from others, harsh words, to struggle not to give ourselves over to responding, to give ourselves over to that anger that desires to put the other person right, or to give them a good scrubbing, to correct them in some measure, to make sure that such a thing does not happen again. Rather, like Christ, who is perfectly innocent and yet mocked and spit upon and ultimately crucified, this is what we are to imitate. He's the standard for us. And so it is this love and this virtue of meekness and gentleness of heart, the willingness to make oneself the slave and the servant of others, that we are to cultivate in our hearts for true prayer to be born, for it to flower within our lives. And so let us pray today for the gift of the meekness and gentleness of Christ, that the life of the kingdom might be ever present within our hearts, and so give birth to true prayer. Thank you, and God bless you, and have a wonderful day.